Hey there! Welcome back to Color and Craft Haven, a little corner of calm where we can slow down, breathe, and add a little color to the day. Today we're stepping into a moment that every colorist eventually reaches. That quiet pause after the last pencil stroke, when you lean back, look at the page and think, now what? There's something deeply satisfying about finishing a coloring page. You've invested time, attention, and emotion into it. Maybe it helped you unwind after a long day, or maybe it carried you through a stressful week. That finished page isn't just paper anymore. It's a small record of calm, creativity, and care, and it deserves to be treated the same way. So today we're talking about how to protect, seal, and display your finished coloring pages beautifully, without turning it into a complicated or overwhelming craft project. This is about cozy creativity, not perfection. Think gentle preservation, mindful choices, and displays that make your space feel comforting rather than cluttered. Let's start with the very first step, letting your artwork rest. This might sound simple, but it's often skipped. When you finish a coloring page, especially if you've used markers, gel pens, or heavy layering, give it time to fully dry. Even colored pencils benefit from a little pause. This rest period helps prevent smudging, transfer, and pressure marks later on. I like to think of it as letting the page exhale before its next chapter. Once your page is fully dry, the next question becomes protection. Not every page needs sealing, and that's an important thing to say right up front. Sealing is optional, not mandatory. If your page will live quietly in a portfolio, binder, or book, sealing may not be necessary at all. But if you plan to frame it, display it, or handle it frequently, adding a protective layer can really extend its life. For colored pencil pages, one of the gentlest options is a workable fixative. This helps lock down pigment without darkening colors too much. It's especially useful if you've done a lot of blending. The key here is light layers. Always spray from a distance, use gentle passes, and allow drying time between coats. Think misting it, not soaking it. You can always add more sealant later, but you can't take it back off the page once you've sprayed it. If you're working with markers or mixed media, sealing becomes a bit more about guarding against fading and moisture. Clear sealant sprays designed for artwork are a good choice. But again, light layers are your friend. Too much sealant can warp or even change how the colors look. Slow and steady wins here. Now let's talk about something that often causes stress, a fear of ruining the page. If sealing makes you nervous, it's okay to skip it entirely. There is no rule that says a coloring page must be sealed to be real art. Many artists never seal their work at all. Preservation is about intention, not anxiety. Next comes trimming and mounting, and this is where you can really personalize the experience. Some people love keeping pages exactly as they are, spiral binding and all. Others enjoy trimming the artwork down and mounting it onto heavier backing paper or mat board. Both options are valid. Mounting adds stability and makes a piece feel finished without requiring a frame. Soft neutral tones, warm creams, or muted pastels work beautifully for cozy displays. You can also choose colors that echo the palette of your artwork for a more intentional look. This step alone can elevate a simple coloring page into something that feels gallery ready. If you do choose to frame your artwork, there are a few gentle considerations that make a big difference. First, glass matters. Frames with UV protective glass help reduce fading over time, especially if your piece will hang in a brighter room. Second, spacing matters. Using a mat keeps the artwork from touching the glass, which prevents moisture buildup and sticking. Frames don't have to be expensive or fancy. Thrifted frames, wood frames, or minimalist designs often suit coloring art beautifully. Remember, the goal is harmony with your space, not perfection. A frame should feel like a cozy home for the artwork, not a spotlight that makes it feel intimidating. But framing isn't the only way to display finished pages. In fact, some of the coziest displays are the least permanent. Clipboards, washi tape, magnetic frames, and cork boards all allow you to rotate art seasonally as your mood changes. This flexibility is especially lovely if coloring is part of your mindfulness practice. Rotating displays help prevent creative burnout too. When artwork becomes static, it can feel forgotten. When it changes, it stays alive. You're allowed to take art down. You're allowed to replace it. That doesn't diminish the work. It honors it. For those who prefer private enjoyment, portfolios and binders are a wonderful option. Clear archival sleeves protect pages from dust, fingerprints, and light exposure while letting you flip through your work whenever you need a moment of calm. There's something deeply comforting about revisiting finished pages like a visual journal. Another cozy option is turning finished pages into functional art. You can use them as journal covers, planner dashboards, bookmarks, or even greeting cards for people who truly appreciate handmade touches. When art becomes part of daily life, it reinforces creativity as something lived, not just displayed. Let's also talk about lighting, because it matters more than we think. Natural light is beautiful, but prolonged exposure can fade pigments over time. If you're displaying art near a window, consider rotating pieces occasionally or using UV protective glass. Soft ambient lighting often shows coloring art at its best: warm, gentle, and inviting. Storage is just as important as display. Finished pages that aren't on display should be stored flat whenever possible. Avoid high humidity, extreme temperatures, or direct sunlight. A simple drawer, portfolio case, or storage box lined with acid-free paper works wonderfully. You don't need museum-level storage, just mindful care. One thing I want to gently emphasize here is this: your coloring pages don't have to earn their keep. They don't have to be displayed. They don't have to be sealed or framed or shared to be valid. Sometimes the most meaningful pieces are the ones that live quietly in a folder, known only to you. Creative preservation is not about pressure. It's about respect. Respect for your time, your energy, and the calm moments you created while coloring. Whether you frame one piece a year or save everything in a binder, you're doing it right if it feels good to you. As cozy creatives, we often forget that art can simply exist. It doesn't need productivity attached to it. It doesn't need approval. Protecting and displaying your coloring pages is an extension of care, not a requirement. So the next time you finish a page, take a breath. Look at it. Decide what feels right this time. Maybe it's a frame. Maybe it's a portfolio sleeve. Maybe it's just a quiet smile before turning the page and starting the next one. That's it for today's colorful time. Let me know in the comments how you like to display or store your finished coloring pages, or if there's a method you're curious to try next. Take care, stay creative, and I'll see you in the next one.